Welcome to Innovative Strategies with Bill Hasse. Innovative Strategy is a show designed to help people with their business and personal financial literacy, but not in the way that you have known. This is not your grandpa's financial literacy, as Bill uses his 30-plus years in the financial industry to stretch your financial box from, let's say about a 30,000-foot view of things. Bill and his guests have helped hundreds of clients achieve and surpass their financial goals. If you have any questions, please email Bill at Bill@BillHasse, that's Bill@BillHasse.com, or reach out to him right here at 216thenet@gmail.com. I always love that intro. The voice is amazing, but
it's incredible. It didn't change this week. Normally it changes every week.
Yeah, we found the little sizzle clip, and we're going with it. Of course, today on Innovative Strategies, we've got Jeff Mazza, a fractional CFO.
We do, and we're excited to have a great conversation with you, Jeff. I did want to say real quick a couple things. Our thoughts and prayers go out to our friends in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv and Israel, and to all those that sympathize with those folks. We had Steve Schwartz on here just a few weeks ago for the Herzog Hospital in Jerusalem, and they've gone to moving everything to the center of the building and underground.
Wow.
They call it their war zone.
Man.
They had plans for this.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
But
life is different.
But sort of thoughts and prayers going out to all those folks. And just in case my wife is actually watching the show, I want to wish her happy anniversary.
Claps that.
33 years and going strong.
We thank you for putting up with him for 33 years. You're a special lady.
I had to put up with myself. I didn't have a choice. But for somebody to actually choose that is a miracle.
Right. Hi, kid. That's great. Congratulations. 33 years is wonderful.
Thanks much. So, Jeff, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on. Tell us a little bit, who you are. You're Millstone Consulting Group. So you folks are into a number of different things.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, Jeff Mazza. We're Millstone Consulting Group is a fractional CFO advisory firm. And that, some people I've had people say, well, what is a CFO, right? And it's a chief financial officer of, been a CFO for different companies, different sizes, different industries, and really know that there's a need for business owners that need that guidance and help along the way. And the role in itself has changed so much over the years, and it's evolved into that strategic partner now. So, really just provide the help to businesses and really get them to achieve their goals and dreams.
Yeah, and I'm familiar with the fractional side. Fractional being, many businesses and people start businesses and companies, and as they grow, they need a CFO, but they might not feel, or maybe they just can't afford one.
Mm-hmm.
So a fractional CFO, you come in and you come in and do specific work. Is it for a short period of time? How does that work for you?
And every, I guess, company is a little different, right? Depending on their size and their industry, but ultimately it's really coming in, and they, a lot of times a business owner might not know that they need it until you start having a conversation, and you start to pick up on some key pieces that you do need someone sitting shotgun next to you in that seat help navigate. And a lot of business owners, they're really good at what they do. They know what they want, where they want to go, but they don't necessarily know how to get there.
Right.
That's where it comes in. But yeah, the idea is to get that, reoccurring, sitting shotgun as acting as a coach, different perspective. I'll challenge you, but at the end of the day, it's really aligning their goals to put this into the roadmap and achieve that. So,
well, once a business owner realizes that he needs a CFO, he or she needs a CFO, you're probably already behind the eight ball, right? You're really running a little late. You need to get out there and get somebody in.
mm-hmm.
That's not an easy task. The process of going through an interview and finding a true CFO and that knows your industry, your business, and buys into your philosophies and things is difficult. It takes time. It takes a lot of money. Bringing in a fractional CFO, actually, I can see it can bridge that time frame, because most business owners, they don't know their books.
Yep.
Right. They know where they started, what they brought in, what they
Yep.
spent, and what's the bottom line is left over.
100%.
I see that too often.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And a lot of times, very similar. They might know just the very high level, and that's great. But there's a lot more that goes into that. As a CFO, you wear many hats in that company and organization. But yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, usually you get up to that 20, 30 million or so, then you're going to need a full-time CFO. And we'll even, if we get to that point, then I'll help you find a good person, how I hire them too, right? Just to make sure they're set up for success. But
that's awesome.
Ultimately, it's built off of trust, even if it's a full-time hire that costs a lot more money. But even for me, it's just, they got to know you, like you, and trust you. Right. And that's what I like to, bring that to of, just who I am and my values, and try to find the people too that are aligned with that. So we work very well together.
Yeah, you pointed out, and well pointed out, CEOs don't know everything, right? They're very good at certain things that they do. And one of the challenges of being a business owner is knowing when and understanding the fact that you need other people, and you need people who are good at what you're not good at. Typically, this show is about financial literacy, and we know most people don't have a clue about finances. I've met CFOs that don't understand personal finance, but but they know the business finance inside and out. So it's such an important aspect, because in a business, a CFO isn't there just to say, "Here's where you stand." It involves so much more in the planning, and I'd like you to explain that to me instead of me trying to explain it and not as accurately,
Sure,
or as well.
But yeah, you touch on a good point of really just educating and coaching, right? I mean, I can't even tell you how many times been a CFO at other companies, and you really kind of understood that, hey, from a high level, even the CFO or CEO, as well as even some of the people on the leadership team, know some high level information, but they don't know. And that's part of what I do, is help simplify this in a way that not only they understand, but we can make good decisions today that is it going to be aligned with the goals, right? And that's a big part of it. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it is really just diving in and just simplifying it, act as a coach. I mean, we have a passion for service and the heart of a coach here. To throughout the years, you kind of realize that there's a need for this role. But yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, there was one exercise I did while I was a CFO, and realizing that this leadership team needs a little one-on-one coaching here. So we brought everything back, and we kind of whiteboarded everything, and just laid out that you have the accounting side of it, which is all the historical, the transactions, and all the entries that have been made. This is how your business has been doing up until this point in time. And it can tell a lot of information, but then the big part of it is that forward thinking.
Yes.
Where are we going and how are we going to get there? And that's where that's exciting work, but a lot of people, I think, lack that. Like I mentioned, they know what they want and how important it is to get there, but they don't know how. And that's where the big thing.
You made it a good point. You said making good decisions, and when you say that, I'm taking that to mean making good decisions going forward. For future, direction, that you're trying to go to and get to. But you need to understand where your finances are at.
100%.
I mean, if you go blindly, you have no idea what can hit you on the backside and
100%.
take a company out.
And yeah, that is so true. And there's a lot of people want to go fast, right? And hey, we made the decision based on the information that we had today, and is that necessarily the right one? And we have tools, and we do a lot of projections, and even just a cash flow forecast model that helps determine very high level. Here's what we estimate coming in and what's going out the door, very high level. But hey, if we make that decision or that purchase today, what happens to your cash in January, February? We could see that now to say, you know what, let's hold off on that, or this is a great idea. We'll have plenty of cash.
Yeah, you and I were talking a little bit yesterday, Jeff, and a lot of times entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, right, is, hey, things are going, I'm having a good year. And so now I need to get 2 trucks and get them wrapped.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And they get a loan, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And their mentality is, I get 2 more jobs. If I just get 2 more jobs each week, I can cover this payment. Right. Is that bad? I mean, this is the question to both of you, but is that a bad way to run your business? Or is it, well, let's
But,
take a look
a
at the
small
big picture.
solopreneur, small business owner, you might look at it and say, yeah, but my company's buying it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So I'm
right.
not taking on the total risk.
Right.
But what we are talking about here is you're giving a CEO an opportunity to actually get some sleep at night.
That's exactly it, right? Because a lot of times you hear, hey, what are some of those
Agree.
pain points? And it's sales and marketing.
Yeah.
At the end, when they go home, it's hitting that pillow and saying, cash my cash isn't increasing as much as my revenue, or hit that glass ceiling.
Yeah.
Maybe it's some margins or anything. We can take a deep dive, but there's a lot to uncover there and unpack and really find out. But at the end of the day, it's putting that comfort. And my goal is to have businesses work for them and not them working for their business. Put that comfort in and fill their pockets with more cash.
Yeah, and we try to emphasize that quite a bit, but we can all find that we get into ruts. We find that we get into the complacent. We start missing signs. We start missing things. And of course, again, we know most people don't really understand money. When you go back to the 2-truck reference, I've got more money coming in. Do I buy 2 trucks because with the premise that all I need is 2 more jobs per week to help cover to pay the cost of those trucks? Well, now you're looking at buying something without money in hand.
Mm-hmm.
You're buying something and hoping that it'll bring more money in hand to cover that. That's a dangerous position to put yourself in.
Yeah, 100%. And that's where a lot of the models come in, because I think we all know that things will happen, expect the unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout some modeling, we can understand, hey, this is the best case scenario. What is that worst case scenario? That if, let's say, those jobs don't come in, what happens? And are we going to be strapped for cash and be in trouble, right?
Depreciate.
Yeah, right. I mean, literally. And then we have to service that debt and pay the interest on those loans. So there's a lot of modeling that goes into that to make those decisions to say, is that good? Or maybe 1 truck is the answer.
How's this mindset for you? So a solopreneur or early on entrepreneur will constantly go to their accountant and say, just get me down to 0. Just get me to 0 so I don't have to pay any taxes.
Yeah.
Now, I know what kind of damage that can do to a business and a person, but is that something you would ever recommend?
I mean, just from a high level, it would be like, no, I mean, I get it, right? Solo entrepreneur, and I get why, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, I start with what is their why? What are you looking to get out of this business? Are you trying to grow and sell it, or you're complacent, you're happy doing this, and you just want to keep plugging away like this? And I mean, I wouldn't say I recommend, fully yet, but to me, it starts with that why, I guess, first to do that. But yeah, if you're trying to, you could run into probably some issues by doing that. I think a lot of
the whys are, I don't have the money to pay the taxes, so get it down as low as you can.
Well, at the same point there, I'm going to play a little devil's advocate. It might be odd for me to do this, but at the same time, I think it's more important for me to get a loan out on a truck than to hire a guy to tell me how to spend my money.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. No.
Well, you buy a truck, now you have to put somebody in it.
Well, or it's me, right? I mean, so what I'm saying is, first of all, I look at you, you don't have a pocket protector on. You're not the typical CFO that I imagine, and that I've been used to, right? I did ask in the green room if he was good at, Excel spreadsheet, and he loves it, and his eyes lit up like, all right, he must be a CFO then, because he's got that. But okay, so here's, again, why do I need you? I need a truck with my name plastered all over it. I know it's going to cost me some money, and as a banker, I want you to have that truck. Right.
Oh, of course.
Hey,
right.
Good. You got some receivables. You got a little money coming in. Hey.
Right.
Right.
Let's talk about loans.
Yeah. So, when it comes to that, when it comes to your service, first of all, you don't look like a typical CFO, what I would say. I don't know what they're supposed to look like, but I'm thinking nerd, right? Not nerd guy, and you in our conversation is very down to earth, very passionate. Why that direction in CFO? But how do you tell me, a small business, and I've been in business for 5 years, why do I need you?
Right? Yeah, you brought up some really good points, right? And the role in itself, from a CFO level, has evolved throughout the years, probably the last 15, 20 years. And it was that number crunching person. cost center sitting in the back,
Yep.
no to everything, right? The CFO there, and we can't cut all these costs, right? And it's evolved to, you hear the term strategic partner, right? What the hell does that mean, really, right? And it's literally being that partner, right? And actually, when I say that, because I was listening to this podcast a few years ago. Dominic Barton was the global managing partner at McKinsey and Company, and he was talking about the G3, and that the two most important people to the CEO are the CFO and the Chief Human Resource Officer for attracting and retaining talent. But just highlighting the importance of that CFO and just the navigating of, you're involved in all the organization, right? So that role has changed. So yeah, you might not see, dressed up, and there's times where a suit is needed, but personally I try to be myself as much as possible. But
I like how you bring HR into this and attracting and maintaining employees, because I guarantee you most small, medium-sized business owners, they don't know what it costs to replace somebody,
Right.
or what it costs to bring in somebody new, and all the effort that it takes, because it's not just, you can put a job sign out there and you're going to get 500,000 resumes right now.
Exactly.
And how do you pick from that?
Yeah.
And so we use algorithms. Well, that doesn't really work either.
Can I work remote?
It's literally, because one of the problems I see out there now typically is businesses are trying to hire that perfect person because they think they can find them.
Oh,
Because
you
they
got
think
them right
there's enough
here.
people out there looking that the right person is there. We just need to find him. How much time and money do you waste looking for that one person that you're never going to find?
If you're looking for that, I'm that person. Just send me an email. I'll get her done for you.
And we could go into more deeply into this about, it's hiring the person, not the background.
Right.
But still, a business owner, I guess one of the things you're asking is at what time in my business do I engage with someone like you?
Yeah, and that's such a great question. You come across that a lot, right? And even for me, it's like, does a startup, do we even need it? And I would probably argue, no, not at that point. They might be doing some, fundraising that you might need some help, like on a project base, but usually it's that, million, 2 million to 20-ish million, right? Where they're making money. Sometimes they might not feel like that they are, like, hey, we make money, but my bank account's not increasing, right? Or they're looking to grow, whether it's headcount or different offices or buildings, and are these decisions we're making today, are they going to be profitable to our goals? You might run into situations, glass ceiling, right? They're really good at building their pipeline and sales, but they never seem to have enough profit at the end of the day. It's like their margins, right? Finance gets pushed to the wayside there. Ultimately, or there's a succession plan. They do want to sell. They want to get investors. We got to plan, a few years in advance to get that tip-top shape. So there's multiple situations there where someone would need that help. And sometimes, really quick, is there could be some sort of a trigger event, right, as well, where I almost missed payroll last fourth quarter of my down season, and I don't want that to happen again. Something happened, or it's not even negative. It could be positive, right? It's, we're doing well, but what's holding you back to even increasing that? I want to go from 5 to 15 million. Like, well, let's make that happen.
Oh yeah. I signed a new big contract. I got a new big client.
Yeah.
But that means I have to grow, and I have to grow fast. How do I do that? I'm a 20-man business, and I just got this huge contract. Now I'm going to grow by 30. Woo. It happens.
Yep.
It's more often than you think. And that can be scary.
Sure.
That's when your bank really loves you, right? Because they say, I've got this big commercial loan for you.
How about this working line of capital?
And again, because and historically I'm not very good with money, but now I think more conservatively, like, wait a minute, I don't want to spend money to make money. Yeah. That's an old saying, right? You got to spend money to make money. Well, you better be careful. Spending your money in hopes of making money.
Yep.
Because that's really what it is.
Yeah. And then a lot of that does come in for what I do as a CFO. It's the forward thinking, the strategic side of it, so that we can identify, if we spend this money, what happens in the future? Is that profitable for us? Is that a good decision based on the information that we have?
Well, and you take out the hope, and you put in the more solid. This is a good business decision to make.
Exactly.
So, all right, well, let's broaden the horizons a little bit. Okay. And we talked about this yesterday. You and I did. You've got. We'll take DDOE for example. Okay. We've got 3 owners, right? That are brilliant people, right? Um,
Well, 2 of them.
yeah, right. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Drew. Yeah. Right. And we're all good. We've all got that good relationship. We're like brothers. And now it's like, as we're talking about strategic, yeah, I thought Drew was going to do it. I thought Mike was going to do it. Right. And a lot of times in businesses, I'm not saying it's ours, but a lot of time in businesses like that, where you have a partner or more than one, it's the roles aren't defined for the strategic purpose. Do you help out with that? I mean, is that something that you do?
I do. And because the CFO, I mean, you wear so many hats in an organization as it is, but a big part of it is that. And I think it aligns to the goals and the goal setting part of it too, of, what are you trying to achieve? And if defining those roles for, each of the, either the shareholder or the people in the organization is part of that goal, then absolutely. Because once I feel like you're on the same page and the communication is so transparent, you kind of know what, Bill's doing and what I'm doing. I mean, we start to have the synergies there. And I was saying yesterday that there are some methodologies. There's one that's called EOS, the Entrepreneur Operating System, but there's no org charts. There are accountability charts, and each individual has, this is what I own, 3 to 5 bullet points in your organization. This is what I own. It's not, hey, I run payroll. It's no, I own payroll. Anybody in the company knows that I'm the payroll guy. Question. So things like that, where you get really,
and that's where partnerships can run into problems.
Sure.
First of all, this is lack of communication. Second of all, lack of proper planning.
Right.
And thirdly, what you'll run into is then you're in my lane.
Yeah.
Get out of my lane. Now you're having a problem with your partner.
Yep.
Because your partner's saying, I'm going to do this. No, that's my lane.
All right.
Exactly.
And that'll happen.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that's going to happen, you're delusional.
Right.
Because it happens every partnership, I believe, at some point. And it's because it's not well defined. So bringing somebody in to help them define the roles, and for them, it's not so much telling me what I'm supposed to be doing. It's letting me know this is where you fit.
Yep.
And how you fit.
No.
That's exactly it. Because it's not, I wouldn't come in. So, well, you're doing this and that. I mean, we'd sit down together, understand, the roles and even your skill sets and your skill sets. And we'll figure out who's owning what. And at the end of the day, that's right. It's your lane. And we I don't know how many times we meet, but once a week, we'll dive in and see if there's any issues, and we'll tackle those and just keep moving forward.
How hard is that? Right. Because you got somebody, you got 3 people, let's say 4 people, and this is their baby. And nobody loves their baby and their idea quite like them.
Yeah.
And you come in and you're like, well,
that's why
hold on there, fella.
That's why you never have the business.
That's an ugly baby.
Yeah,
right now you got an ugly baby. Yeah, no.
Golden rule in the sales world: never have the owner come on a sales call with you.
Yeah,
because they're selling their baby and they don't get it.
Right. But right, I mean, so
sure. I mean, it's a level of perspective, right? It's a different person, different view, an outside person that it's not my baby. I don't skin in the game or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's just saying, these are, I throughout the course of the career, these are kind of, I don't say common practices, but seen a lot that has worked.
Sure.
Right. So it's saying, hey, here's a structure that we could put in place after we dive in and work with everybody here. But yeah, something.
Yeah. Is there a wheelhouse that you like more than, do you love, like mechanics garages or something in the trades, or are you, what?
50 million and up?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But no, that's a great question. And I would say I have a diverse background across many industries. But yeah, wholesale, distribution, events, technology is a background.
Wow.
Med fintech and SaaS businesses. Yeah, we had an events company, which I really enjoyed the event side of it. So people put on big events that they need some planning for sure.
Yeah.
Their strategy too. But and it's and healthcare too. So outpatient surgical facilities that worked with, and so not trying to go very, very broad, but trying to narrow that niche down and really kind of provide that value.
That's cool. Life takes us in many different directions.
Yeah, with technology, when I see Drew's out there, Drew Casaccio, when he's in, of course,
Drew.
Owner of DCCS. So check him out at www, or I think, what is it? Go dccs.com. That's it, right? Yeah. Go dccs.
I don't know.
Yeah. .com.
I do like,
But he's
you know.
big into the IT space. It helps. Works with a lot.
Very smart man.
Channel and whatnot.
Yep.
So if he was here, I'd make an introduction, but we'll hook it up at some point.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, he's brilliant too. Yeah, he's
That's
one
great.
of the 2 brilliant partners.
He's pretty. I mean, the guy's pretty ugly, pretty destined to stay that way. No.
So when I do meet him, it's like, oh, this is the ugly guy.
Yeah. Oh, you're the pretty
right.
guy. That's
You
right,
are
yeah.
totally right.
Oh, that's funny. And I believe he has no hair either.
That's right. Good looking cat.
So-
Good looking cat. So of course there's millstoneconsultinggroup.com, but if somebody has a question, wants to continue, reach out to you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, I mean, you can reach out to me personally. It's Mazza, JMAZZA at Millstone Consulting Group. I was telling these guys it was the longest email I could find, which I think I succeeded. So, but yeah, happy to chat. Yeah, any questions, and just here to help. I love helping people.
And that's the website, millstoneconsultinggroup.com, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
right up there on screen.
Okay, cool.
Good stuff. Now you guys, just taking a look at your website, offer a few different services, right? CFO, of course. There was a fraud or something, or what?
Yeah. So I am a certified fraud examiner. So I have being in fiduciary responsibility of organizations that, fraud happens everywhere. And the stats from the American Association of Certified Fraud Examiner, or the chapter where I learned all of the fraud training there is, 5%. Businesses lose 5% on average to fraud of their revenue. And there's different kinds of fraud. It's the asset misappropriation, corruption, and financial statement fraud. And it's aside from just stealing money from the cash register, I mean, there's all sorts of fraud. So that kind of held it close to my heart there, because being in that fiduciary responsibility, try to mitigate as much as possible. Because I don't like losing money. I hate losing other people's money. So try to mitigate that.
And give me an idea. People don't understand that I didn't realize it was 5%, and to me that's a lot. But but I do know it's very, very common. I have a good friend down in Texas. His head assistant in the business left after 30 years. About 3 weeks later, she passed away. And about 3 weeks after that, they found out she had taken hundreds of thousands of dollars out of the business. And she was his first hire. I mean, they were friends. They did holidays, travel together, all this stuff. And all those years she was taking money from him.
And you see that.
God rest her soul.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I don't want to use names, but you never know.
You do, yeah. It's usually those long-standing employees, not usually, but you see that happening. Or, there's so many different situations. Obviously living beyond their means. You have a janitor showing up in a Lamborghini, and you're like, "What is going on?"
Well, I mean, in the banking industry, right? You have to be out of the bank. You cannot come in the bank for 5 consecutive days, and that is to check on fraud, to see, if all of a sudden balances go up while you're out for 5 days. It's
well, my friend at Morgan Stanley, they used to you'd have to shut down for up to 2 weeks, and you could not use your company phone or your company computer. You had to have to turn that in, and they would go through everything. Compliance folks would go through everything, anything a little bit off, and you're getting called to the mat. And you don't want to get in trouble with folks like Morgan Stanley or those big boys.
Right. I agree. But yeah, you see it all the time, especially the smaller mid-sized businesses where, they might not have funds for technology or the training or all of that. So they're more susceptible to fraud. I mean, I've had accountants. All of it. I mean, I came from a public accounting firm, and it was, they would on purpose send out emails to try to trick us, and you're only allowed a certain amount, and they look pretty real.
Yes.
But even a CFO friend who was at a not-for-profit recently had said that they got scammed via email, that it was from him, but they almost went through his email. Like it was coming from his email about sending out money. I think it was about $50,000 that they lost. They were trying to getting back and stuff. But it's crazy. But it came from his email. I was still shocked at that.
Well, technology, right? It's allowing us to do things. Look at what AI, we've seen that what that can do is it can actually take a picture of you, and it can take words that you say and it can mix it up, and you could be sending out a message saying, "Hi, Mom," and your mother would think it's you. I'm stuck.
Deep fake.
I'm stuck here and I need $5,000.
Yeah.
You know, because I lost my wallet.
Well, and not to throw my mom under the bus, right? I mean, back in the day when, NFL on Fox, those robot guys that would
Yeah.
jump up. I mean, she thought that was someone in that, like a robot suit jumping up and down. And you're just like, no, mom, that's not. So don't stay away from my mom. She'll probably just do that too.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, this was probably 10 years
Not
ago,
Terry
right?
Bradshaw.
Yeah. That's funny.
Right. No, it's, but this, and another aspect of bringing in, a trusted person, the CFE, I love that. I can't let you ever look at my books now that I know you about that, for you. But, it's accounting too, because accountants, I know, this is not uncommon for accountants to, you hire an accountant, he works full time, say in your company. And I've got somebody else I know that this happened to, and you trust them and you don't know books.
Mm-hmm.
You're the business owner, but you don't understand how to read all the financial sheets. So the accountant finally figures that out and says, well, this is just like taking candy from a baby, right?
That's why you hire Steph's Books. Steph'sBooks.com.
Steph's Books?
Yeah, Steph's bookkeeping.
Oh, Steph's
bookkeeping, yeah.
Books.
Yeah, Steph'sBooks.com.
Yeah, she's
That's
good.
Yeah, right. So that's a tricky thing. We see you've been involved with the NFL retirement group, right?
Yep.
I don't know what it was called, but I know, and there's a lot of guys there that were taken because they had no idea.
Yeah. So I got involved with the NFL Alumni Association here in Illinois with Des Clark.
Yep.
Well, he was president, and we were trying to help, but all these guys, they were all broke.
Yeah.
They had been taken advantage of. I mean, but it's so true with everybody. Look at how many people are making money off of Taylor Swift or making money off of the Kardashians. I mean,
and please, Taylor, send your check for that. Shout out to
the
DOE.
Well, I think it should come
or
in
show up in studio.
Well, a game will break out if she shows up.
Because we know that she is a huge Bill Hasse Innovative Strategies fan.
Yeah, we do.
She tunes in every week.
We do. And she said she was going to hope to be there today, but it was a late night last night.
That's
so.
it. Yeah.
But
game went late.
But yeah, because there's just so many ways. So having a CFO, I just see how that brings peace of mind, allows me to sleep at night, allows me to concentrate on other things instead of being so focused on the money side of it. Okay, now I've got some comfort here. Now I can really focus on the things I do best.
Now, are people signing contracts with you? I mean, are you saying, hey man, I'm going to come in, I'm going to be your fractional CFO until we get to this level. So sign here, sign here, sign here, or is it a month by month lease on you? I don't know how it works.
Yeah, we use it's a contract for a year. I mean, you can break it, right? And we use a software called Ignition. It's made for a lot of accounting firms and advisory coaching firms, and it's all electronic. It's very straightforward and streamlined. But yeah, usually it's a year contract, and you can break it. And I even, personally, being in this role, is to say, listen, if you're not getting the value that I provide, and I'm happy to give your money back, whether it's month 1 or month 100, we'll shake hands and leave as friends. Like, I get that. But for me, it's, saying, hey, I do have some skin in the game here because I'm confident in what I can do, but I want to provide that value.
Yeah.
So and if that's not meeting their expectations, then we'll part ways as friends.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned too that you'll help them make that transition into a full-time
absolutely
CFO, and help them even find the people and understand what they should be looking for.
Absolutely.
In somebody.
And I've done that as like interim CFO, and we've gone and found a good person, because a lot of times the CEO at that point was, hey, I would love your advice and love your input of finding a good CFO and training, and just saying, here's what to look for. So, providing that value is helpful too. And even the last company I was at, they found a good person. I was like, you're in good hands.
That's cool.
So yeah, that's outstanding, because it's not an easy task either. Because a lot of times maybe you don't have the money, or your board isn't going to approve for that support. CEOs are in a lonely position, right? Yep. They don't really have anybody to go to get help. They're the ones who are supposed to have all the answers.
Sure.
They don't.
Yeah.
None of us do. Right. And so why would you expect that out of the CEO? But I can see the tremendous value that you would bring to the table. And again, I mean, it's a 1-year contract. How much time do you spend with the business owner then during that 1 year?
It varies really. I mean, depending on the situation, the industry, the company, but ideally in the beginning, it's usually that ramp up period, right? Understanding the business and do some more goal setting and understand the why. But, then we put all of our sheets together and, we go through the financials. And like I said, we try to educate and simplify these, right? And especially in the beginning, we'll go through the financial health, just see where we're at right now. Okay. And then, we'll start really looking at, the cash flow forecast 100%. That's the biggest light bulb goes off, right? When you start looking at that forecast, and we use that. And it's not just Jeff putting it together. It's me sitting next to that owner or owners to get their input. And the ideally is for them to learn it too, so that they understand it.
That's extremely important, but educating folks can be challenging, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't know where they're coming from as far as what's their background financially. Mm-hmm. What do they know? And we do know that most people don't know much of anything financially. So it's got to be a challenge.
Okay. It is. Yeah. You get some folks, especially some older folks that have they're like the legacy, right? They're just so stuck in their ways, and it's okay. But
you get the young ones too who think they know everything.
Exactly. So right? You better both sides there. But it's also me too, trying to find those folks that are fitting with my values too.
So here at DDOE, we're a nonprofit, not by choice. And we the question that I have is, and this is a question that's come in from a lot of small business owners as well, is how do I know when to pay myself? Right? Small business. You want to roll everything back. We're told
this is important.
Roll this back into the business. Everything goes back into the business, back into the business, back. When do you know what? I need to get paid on this.
That's such a great question. And that's like the mentality I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs and solopreneurs especially is, hey, we got to put it all back into the business. We got to keep the gas, flowing in there, and what's left is the crumbs. And you take a little bit, and then you start to resent the business, and the spouse might be like, "What are we doing here? Why are we doing this?" Right?
Have you talked to my wife?
No. How are you going to retire? Oh, well, I'm going to sell the business.
Yes, sell,
and I'm going to retire off of that.
Wait for that guy to come in with a big fat check.
Yeah, and then that doesn't happen.
Well, not yet.
Yeah.
I mean,
again, Taylor, you can make that check out.
Well, it's like 75% of businesses that go up for sale don't get sold. It's a huge amount.
Well, sure.
And, but people have these incredible
so how
expectations. Do you help with that exit strategy?
We do. A partner as well. He's based out of New York. There's a lot of the M&A world in his background, so we can help advise, and even from the transaction.
For a guy like me, M&A means.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've thrown out these terms very fast here, but mergers and acquisitions, M&A. So
all right.
Sorry about that.
I don't know what that means. S&M, I know.
That's one service we don't provide. But I mean those are such good, valid questions. And I personally, I came across a book probably about, I think it was like 5 years ago. It was called Profit First by Michael Michalowicz, and it was amazing because we're taught to say, here you have your revenue minus expenses equals to your net profit, and that's what you have left over and take home. And then he changed it, says it's revenues minus profit equals your expenses. And he kind of flipped that narrative of and it was a very interesting way of looking at it. I started to incorporate that of a profit first mentality of paying yourself first, and then what do you have to run your business, and really and he provided all these benchmarks into the size of your organization. If you're 0 to 250, these are on average, here's some profits of your owner's compensation. Here's what you need to put for tax and what you can run your business on. And it just shifted your mindset to say, I'm going to, as that $1,000 comes in based off these percentages, I'm paying myself first, putting it to tax, putting it to operating expenses. And if you're too high, it's like, we got to make some adjustments here. And again, this is benchmarks, and you can shift these percentages. But the idea is that you're paying yourself first, put something aside, taxes, owner's comp, and the profit, and then for operating expenses.
It's extremely important because if you're struggling financially at home, because you're throwing too much back into the business, that's not going to work for you.
Well,
right. You're in such a fragile position financially. But a lot of business owners, you're right. The mentality is I keep putting money back into the business.
Yeah,
and I'll make it up when I sell it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times too, just with that, it was like, well, how am I going to grow? And we want to put it all back. And it's like, well, you increase your revenue, you're still getting the crumbs, right? It's not, nothing's changing, right? But even that way, you are still allowed to grow because you're setting aside profit for the organization. You're setting aside what you're taking home, your taxes, and then what you're paying for expenses.
One of my old partners, Uncle Pete, God rest his soul, he was that way. I'll go, no, keeps going back in the business, and I'm like, buddy, we got to value our time at some time too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then he died. So,
yeah. That was, well, all your partners. I think I've had.
I mean, right now I'm on a good streak.
I just learned that too, and I kind of took a few steps away from him while we were talking. Like,
the hosts are fine, right? The hosts and guests are fine.
Hosts and guests
you just don't want to get in a business.
We're good.
With me.
So far, we're good.
Yeah, right.
That doesn't cross over. This Friday the 13th.
But
so.
I mean, that is when I talk to guests and try to get people on, especially innovative strategies and in the know of Steph and Joe, it's one of the biggest questions that I always get is no, I got to keep putting money back into the business. I don't want, and that's the biggest struggle for a lot of entrepreneurs. I feel bad. I feel guilty for paying me. And that's
but what are you doing it for? What's you did it in order to make money, right? Because you had visions of glory and being millionaire. Because I'm building this business, but it also, you got to look at what type of business owner are you? Are you a purely growth or are you a manager?
Right.
Which aspect do you like? For me, I like building businesses, but I don't like managing. But everybody's different.
I mean, that's why I love the group that we have here at DDOE, because Drew's mind is he's that visionary, brilliant. He ain't afraid to work, get his hands dirty, right? But I mean, some of the things that comes out of his brain, I just kind of looking like, how'd that happen? That is genius, right?
Well, mom dropped him when he was young.
Right. And then Mike he's our systems guy, right? It's, hey, we got to get the the SOPs, and hey, if we can stay structured, life's good, right? And I'm the guy on the unicorn or the unicycle juggling like this, right? Let's go, right? And no, here, let me use my voice, but so it's really a cool mix, and it's great, but at the same time, we still fall into, okay,
I thought you were going to do that.
Yeah. Should we pay everybody equally? Because I'm out there hustling, Drew's out there hustling, Mike is he's more on that systems backside, and even though we've got an equal share of ownership, do you go
it's a tricky road, because now you're telling people what you think their value is.
It is a tricky road.
That's a tough place to go.
Are you structured as an LLC?
No, we're an S corp.
An S corp.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Because
I'm not trying to air out our dirty. I don't think we have dirty laundry. I'm excited about the direction and everything. After 5.5 years of being in business, almost 6 years of being in business, we are I'm excited, and these two guys are brilliant, right? But and they're not necessarily always. I've got some questions from people, that I talk to again, because we've got a couple business shows, but but it is. It's like, hey, okay,
we've spent the last 2 years teaching people how to build a business from concept, right, to success. So something had to stick there, right?
Yeah.
For you?
Oh yeah.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I know.
But those are the big. I think pay and equity is the big thing when you are in business with a partner. Yeah.
Well, and you can call it perks or benefits. And that's important. And we're going back to attaining and retaining good talent.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and there's a lot. I mean, we went through an exercise at prior company as a CFO, and just putting comp structures and how do we bring the people in, and there's fringe benefits. There's so many different areas that you just have to hand cash over, right? And the CEO at the time was doing that, and we're like, you could do other things than just hand over cash, because they didn't know. So after the big deep dive, we peeled the onion and we really put a good structure in place. But at the end of the day, nowadays it's like, well, how many days do I come in? And if you say 3, it's like, well, I want 2, and it's
right.
I'm sorry, I'm out, and it's,
what are you, UAW?
No, they're the writers.
I only want to work 4 days a week, which was just a ploy to get more income, but we'll give up that 4-day work week thing to give us our 42% pay increase. And that's hard to argue about, because we know the leadership for these car builder guys, they were getting 40+% increases in pay per year.
Mhm.
You know, and it's like I think it's fair to be asking for it. So there's another thing a CFO can help with in showing you where your monies are at, and hey, you guys are far outpacing the rest of the employees in the company. Just want you to be aware of it. Want you to understand possible effects that can have.
Yeah, and you could run into some issues like that, and it's really, I mean, you could do like kind of comp plans and look at some salary bands and certain company size and industries, and here's a band where a position of this size and should be in this range, right? And then you could say, I ran into a situation where someone in some other department, same level, was getting far more than someone else on below. And these were leadership team members. And it literally, my eyes were wide open saying, what is going on here? Like, why is this such a variable difference? It's massive. And there was no direct answer. It's like, what to say, like, in this, looking, saying, well, I'm going to put a file some sort of.
He's been here 10 years. He's only been here 2 years. You didn't come up with excuses, but you're right, because that leads to problems. I know my wife was in the corporate world for 30 years with a company that, and she held a pretty lofty position, but she was told she was worth more money, but they couldn't pay her more because her title wouldn't allow it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. And I'm just like, well, then tell them to
funny.
change your title, because companies love to give titles out.
Right.
They hate giving money away, but they love to give titles out. She was enticed to leave and go into the private sector, and where she left has had a lot of challenges to maintaining the continuity that they had when my wife was there running it.
Really?
And this is
And you're not just saying that because it's your anniversary.
No, I'm just getting brownie points everywhere. I'll be home right after golf. But
that's a lot of what I love about Jeff, and what you do as a fractional CFO is you bring a lot of outside knowledge to my inside passion.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that,
because this is something that I've built. This is something that I love. But I don't necessarily have the experience of different industries, different things like that. Right. So if I'm a plumber, I know plumbing, but you bring in an outside perspective and experience to that passion of mine, because let's be honest, when it's your baby and you're very passionate about it, you can be very blind to a lot of things that hold you back. Right. Totally. So working with yourself, from Millstone Consulting Group.com, as a fractional CFO, you bring in what my dad always said is you always want to try to be an outside observer before you jump into anything. Right?
It doesn't hurt. You need second opinions. We were talking about that a little bit before the show, getting second opinions and getting other people's opinions. Good point, because if you're a plumber, you're a plumber. You know how to do plumbing.
That's right.
Doesn't mean you know how to do your books.
Correct.
And if you ask any plumber, electrician, construction folks, what is the one thing they hate doing most?
The books.
The books.
Yeah. Don't have time to send out
because they have to do
invoices.
Whatever. Because they have to do them, because they have to make payroll. And they have to buy parts and things, and trucks. But
wrapped trucks, that's the big thing now. I got to get that baby wrapped. Used to just be a magnetic sign you stuck on the door, but now
slap it on there.
I was told
that was $75. Now it's $7,500 to wrap it.
I was told wrap your car, because when you go to sell it, you can unwrap it and it looks brand new.
In some cases, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
depends how long you have.
If you haven't run into a brick wall, but
right, right,
but still,
right. So, tell me a story, if you would. You don't have to use names, where you came in and perhaps that owner was a little bit offstandish, a little bit, but then you helped them, level up their business.
Yeah, and this was there's a few of them actually, but one of them that stands out was this one company went in as a CFO, right? And they were doing good, and they were middle market. They reached out of that small business size, and they were using a lot of outsource model and wanted to bring in hire internal. So it was the opposite side, but diving in there, just to like your point, this was someone that started this business much younger and growing up. He's still pretty young, but single owner there. But just for me as a CFO, you wear many hats in the organization, right? So you start to learn going in the production facility for a few weeks and understand what is happening, how are you doing things. I want to see the efficiencies and inefficiencies. Going on the road with the sales team, how are you presenting the company? I want to meet other customers.
You're
as
like
well.
undercover boss.
Kind of, right?
Yeah.
But it just opens your eyes to the entire organization. So you're not just sitting in the back saying, no, we're not doing that, stop spending, where you don't fully understand. But there was a lot of inefficiencies in that production facility, which we literally just went through it and whiteboarded and said, we're gonna fix this. And we were able to produce a lot more units out that door and store units from our inventory. But and this was a let's go fast, and let's start producing more. And it was like, all right, let's pause for a second, because we could actually make more money even with less revenue if you really look at the meat that's on that bone right now. And that's what we did. And we were exploring, do we even outsource, where we can hold a lot of this product, or do it ourselves? Because it was kind of the bottleneck of our operation. So that's where the modeling comes in, where we start doing some analysis to see if we outsource a lot of the production facility to somewhere else that's what they do good at. And what we do good is not that. And from a cost comparison, we end up still doing it ourselves because it's about equal. We can have a little bit more control of that. But we just made some efficiencies in there. But across the board, we went through all departments and we just streamlined everything. And we increased our profitability, and we ended up doubling to about 100 or so million in a short time. It was a hyper growth company, but little tweaks can make a big impact, right? And at the end of the day, speaking of that plumber, right? I mean, I'm not coming in and saying, no, we're not doing that, because my success is their success, right? I want them to have many different trucks and facilities. I want them on the beach and having the whole team kind of plugging out the work, right? So that's where I enjoy it as well.
I love that mentality. That comes out of the it's part of the Bible teachings on business secrets.
The book you're reading,
from the Bible is go in there with the mindset that you are your own business, and these are your clients, and you're trying to do the best you can for them, put them in the best situation and position that you can. Because you talk about a couple of different things. Number one, a business owner growing typically will outsource most everything, right? And at what time do they need to start bringing it in-house? And then going out and checking efficiencies. I guarantee you that, as a business owner, I don't think any of my businesses were run perfectly efficiently. It's just, you can't. You need an outside, you need an outside set of eyes and whatnot. And I like the fact that you're going through that. It's as opposed to just coming in and looking at books. Which most people would think is a fractional CFO. They just come in, they look at my books, they clean it up, they tell me where I stand, and then they leave. But that's purely not the case here.
No, that's just the tip of the iceberg to me. It's we talk about let's roll up our sleeves, but no, let's actually roll them up and go in the back.
That's
and
cool.
Work back there to understand how much product and solution we're going through. Is there even proper inventory? You can uncover so many things. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just my success is their success, and try to dive in. And even then, to your point too, Bill, is it might be, hey, this is how we do it here. And it doesn't make necessarily the right thing, but what you did that up to, say, like $1 million is great, but to go from $1 million to $5 million, like, we might have to change some things, right? So it could always evolve and change a lot.
I that mentality is always painful, right? Just how we do things. And well, that's because that's all you know how to do. And nobody was raised to be taught how to take a business from let's say concept to $5 million into $100 million and so on and above and beyond. Even going to college, there are very few schools that even teach that, right? We make Harvard, Yale, a couple of them, but those guys already know what they're doing. But so most of us don't, we don't understand that we need others to help us. We need other people's eyes, experience, knowledge, background, like what you bring to the table. And I do love the fact that, because I know my mindset was fractional CFO was you just come in and look at the books, make sure everything's cleaned up.
That's what most people think CFOs are.
And
so I wanted him to come on.
Yeah, but you're saying you're wearing multiple hats, and I hearing that.
Yeah, there's multiple hats, and there's a lot. It's a difficult role, especially as a full-time CFO in a growing organization. And I mean, there's a lot area that person is. So trying to give the education, the coaching, but also that guidance, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not like I want to do it for that person, but
Mhm.
I want to sit next to them to help educate so that they are just well equipped to have a better conversations, make good decisions,
Better decision.
just to go forward. And that's really what it comes down to.
And it's J Mazza, JMAZZA,
Yes.
at millstoneconsultinggroup.com. If you want to continue with the conversation, or you can visit their website at millstoneconsultinggroup.com, and your picture is on there, so you can click on that or contact us. They'll get in touch with you. Going into 2024, right now is probably the best time for a business to contact you, right? I mean, and then you can really put some things in place for 2024. And here's the other thing. You're going to hear your accountant say, right? Start buying stuff. Right? You need equipment. Start buying it now. Get it before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Right. But this is something that you can help out with too.
Absolutely.
And here's what I'll say is, for accountants, is if you only talk to them during tax season, they're not as trusted of a financial advisor as you may want them to be, right? But if you use some are, right? But I mean,
we've had Casey on the show, Casey Moss. He's good.
But they're having conversations throughout the year. It's not just during tax time, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is, I think that if we take a look at it, you as the CFO working with a fractional CFO is, hey, let's talk about this. Now, don't just go out and start buying calculators and staplers and just for a write-off. Here's what you want to do, type of thing, right?
Yeah. And even bringing that up, right? And there's nothing against the accountants at all.
No, we love them.
Critical. You need them. There's times too where you do have those conversations where I've run across, CEO talking to the accountant, and it's like, hey, I made $1 million. Congrats, that's a great year, and you have a tax bill now, but then all of a sudden the guy's like, well, where's that money? I don't have that money in my bank.
I'm
perfect.
I'm paying $400,000 in taxes.
Right. Yeah.
It's like,
so that's, it's a different way. I think, CPA and, accountant would talk about financials. Right. And again, nothing wrong with them. We need them, and they're very critical to everybody.
Yeah.
Well, you've said you can help people actually use less revenue to make more money just by efficiencies.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And I love that fact, because it's, if you're just chasing the almighty dollar, you're probably never going to be truly successful.
I agree.
But we are down to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I know.
By fast.
Yeah, that's what I'll say when Bill's in the room. Never mind. Where is that? Where is that? There we go.
I don't think we've ever had, honestly, Jeff, I don't think we've ever had a guest that didn't say that.
That's right. But because of your passion. I mean, that's what and what I truly love is, you bring that outside perspective to an entrepreneur's inside passion. And there has to be that balance there.
There does. And it has, you have to have that to get on this show.
Yeah, you do.
To be honest with you. I mean, Jeff, your passion for what you're doing shows.
Yep.
I can feel it.
Yep.
And those are the kind of people that I know I want to work with.
Yeah.
And especially folks who are as well experienced and knowledgeable as you are in what you're trying to do and what you want to do to help others. Folks, you need help.
Yep.
If you're a business owner, you're going to need help.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you like it or not, giving up, controls and things. Providing the knowledge that you provide for a business owner, I mean, who wouldn't want that?
Well, I like to think that too, right? Because it's an important role in there. So why just because you might not be able to afford a full-time CFO, like you shouldn't struggle, right? And at least let's get to that point where you can, hire someone and be that trusted advisor, really. Because then you start thinking too, I mean, everybody has a coach, all the professional people, right? There's some sort of coach, right? Not that I'm like a coach, but it's I'm as a CFO, there's other coaches that can help the CEO, right? I mean, there's many different ways we could help. But what I do, it's, someone shouldn't be able to not be able to have that same expertise with it if they can't afford it.
Listen, great stuff as always. And again, if you want more information, you want to have a conversation with Jeff, reach out to him at millstoneconsultinggroup.com or J Mazza. That's JMAZZA at millstoneconsultinggroup.com.
Absolutely. Definitely reach out to him. I tell you, I'm going to enjoy more conversations with you going forward. And thank you so
Same
much
here.
for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
you
It was
got
a
it.
pleasure talking to you. And
It's a-
yeah, anybody wants any help, I'm happy to talk. And I would love meeting people and just loving hearing the story why.
That's it. And he also loves a good old fashioned and a cigar. So there you go.
And golf.
And golf.
There we go. Hey, there we go.
You
Hey.
and I are going golf and having a cigar and a cocktail.
Hey,
The
pro-
19th hole.
there we go.
It's gonna be
That's
very
right.
long.
I'll just call my wife, tell her I'm going to be a little late for the
That's
anniversary.
For everybody here at 216 Net, thanks for getting caught in the net with us. This is another great episode of Innovative Strategies with Bill Hasse and our good friend Jeff Mazza, the Fractional CFO. Until next week, everybody, enjoy the weekend. Be good, but more importantly, be good to one another.
Thanks for tuning in.